Okay, welcome to American Dream Garage. Wanted to explain a little bit about the things that I do. So there's really three things that consume my time since I retired. One is buying and selling and driving and enjoying cars, keeping them clean, keeping them on the road, keeping gas in them. I have in excess of 50 cars, so it takes a lot of time. The next thing I do is repair my own repairs on cars. So my garage in Andover, which I'll go for a tour on a video next week, has cars that everything with them is fine. They're running well, they're cleaned up, and they're basically being shown. Cars here generally have some things that need to be worked on, whether it's a fuel pump or whether it's a power window not working or a tune-up or things like that. So cars come back out here and I do that work on them. The final thing is really the thing that I didn't really realize when I first got started that I would enjoy the most is restoration. And that is taking a car that's been let age, whether it's the entire car, whether it's rust on the body. In most cases, for me, the things I do are restoring the undercarriage, suspension, brakes, etc., bringing that to the same quality as the cosmetics of the car up above. So I usually work on 3 to 4. I try very hard not to get into more than that, although I do most of the time. 3 to 4 projects, and that takes place out here at the shop. So why don't you come with me and we'll take a look at what I happen to be working on. There and there it will sit until I get rid of some of the ones that I have here. The one thing I will say is this is my shop. I don't have any customers. I'm not the neatest person in the world, which my wife and others will tell you, but I will stop every week or so and clean up. So the first one I'm working on is a 73 Porsche 914 2-liter. Several years ago I went through and did the undercarriage of the car, suspension, brakes, etc., new shocks, cleaned everything up. But I knew all along that it would require the cosmetics, which is the opposite of most of the cars I have. So it had rust in various places, so welded in new sheet metal, there's one of the front doors up here, a new sheet metal which I made. Most of these things you can buy. This one I bought, that one I made. So I've got it pretty much to the point where it'll sit there till springtime when I can get it outside and sand it. And then I'm taking paint this summer at McPherson College. So the second car which I'm doing is my XK Roadster, which cosmetically is a beautiful car. It's won quite a few shows, but this spring I got it out and drove it, and I noticed that there were some issues, and I thought I better get it up on a rack and check it out. And so when I did that, I found out that not only were the things that I could tell, the power steering rack was completely shot, but pretty much everything in the front suspension was shot too. So anyway, I put it up on the rack, and generally what happens when I do that is I get started and I can't stop. So I've worked on this front side. I've got the steering rack out being rebuilt New shocks, new bushings, all the bushings were shot. New ball joints, refreshed all these various things, new radiator hoses, and then looking underneath, I've started to work on, I put a new transmission mount in there. I've ordered the heat shields for underneath. I've cleaned everything up. And then ultimately, I've got the right side. I don't take both apart at the same time. This is an excellent, people say take a lot of pictures. Well, no. I can also look at this side and see how it goes back together, and then I know exactly how to do that. So this is what it did look like. You can see the bushings are painted over. They're crap. Shock bushings are bad. I got new wheel bearings for it, and brake rebuild kits coming. So, and then I'll start on the back end. You'll be able to see the back end really is what I would say. There's nothing really wrong with things back here. I pulled the exhaust off. The exhaust is fine, but it's tired, so I'm gonna order a new one. And you can see, this car's been driven. It's a driver. Things were done to it in the restoration, but that was a long, long time ago. So all this will come off. The rear end will come off, and we'll do it like we do the front. Okay, the next car, this one is almost done. This is a BMW 3.0 CS, and I have done, it was a running, driving car. It had a fresh paint job. The interior was refinished, but underneath, like most of them, it was beyond a driver. So you get a lot of tired, ouch. You get a lot of tired bushings and so forth. But this car has been also totally redone. This car's been really worked, you know, in process for probably about 3 years. I'll stop there and maybe we can find what's underneath. So you see all new stainless steel exhaust. This was a first for me. I had to replace some of the floor panels. So all the rear end, suspension, rubber, everything's came out. The gas tank came out, cleaned and sealed. Same way with the front suspension. New shocks. Sway bar bushings, everything's been totally redone. So this car is starting and firing, but it's not running on its own yet. I'm a little hesitant to take it any farther. What I might do is take it to a shop and have an expert really work on it and get it back to that next stage. So then the final car, which I have, is, by the way, these 3 cars are 3 of my favorite cars of all time. So this is an Alfa Romeo GTV 2000. I think it's probably one of the better, it's a Bertone, I believe, design car. It's a 4-cylinder overhead cam. I'll show you, I'll walk over here. The motor is over here, and it is ready to go. The transmission has been professionally rebuilt. It's a 5-speed transmission. Here is the engine, dual overhead cam, 2-liter, high revving, beautiful engine. It's got Weber carburetors versus the original fuel injection. I will put a European Weber style manifold on the car when it's finished. But when they took the transmission out, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to work on it further. As you can see, I've got the engine bay redone. Most of the parts have been powder coated. The only downfall to this one, it's been a while since I took it apart, so I hope I can find some good diagrams. So when the BMW is done, this car will come back in its place. So there's several other things that I'm working on that I wouldn't say are in the total restoration phase, but are getting some major things fixed on them. But that is where I'm at with my 4 current restoration projects. Thank you for joining me in American Dream Garage.